I'm Frick.
I'm Frack.
And we are with Allyn.
She had no idea that was coming.
And I'm Franny.
There we go.
Okay, so we're pulling business people aside and we're asking them questions as you reflect. One thing I want to know about is your morning routine.
Ooh. So I actually used to be, I used to have a grudge at people with morning routines.
Okay.
I'm like, do these people have children? Little kids? Like my little guy is like my personal alarm clock.
Yeah.
And I don't know when it's going on. Some days he sleeps in and some days he doesn't. And so it takes, my routine is interrupted a lot. So I would say it's more of a flow. And on the days that I can have the mornings that I ideally want, I just generally just look at the ceiling and be as empty-minded as possible. And then I write.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just write whatever comes out. If my brain is blathering on blah, 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 I literally write blah, blah, blah. And then the to-do list will come out and then some insight will come out and I just do it all until I'm exhausted.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
And do you teach your son how to keep a journal?
No, he hates writing and reading.
Okay, so
Okay, so that's very normal.
Okay, there
My
you go.
kids don't read. They think YouTube, that's reading.
Yeah.
That's just,
Yes.
They have to read a caption for TikTok. But I do have a question. So you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Your son's dad is an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so how do you think that you guys are raising your son differently because you're entrepreneurs than how you were raised?
I would say there's a lot less of pounding into the system of like, get an education, do this very well, be nice. We actually say don't be nice, be kind. Because the meaning of the word nice is weak in the original English language. And because words all have energy and meaning and purpose, I like for him to know the original purpose of words. So he will know when he himself has become an instrument and be, living his purpose. And so for him, his job is to really, as we say, get lots of hugs and kisses, to be really good at who he is, whatever that is, and to pursue things that even just like a little bit interest him. Pursue it, just try it. And I would rather he knows a bunch of things that he's like bored of doing and not care about doing than like not have tried anything at all. So I would say growing up, I didn't have that luxury. My parents couldn't pay for half the stuff I was interested in.
Sure.
My mom had to go beg for food, and just like in abject poverty, really, on the streets. So there were a lot of things I was curious about that I couldn't pursue. And I pursued them all as an adult.
Yeah.
but
And what
but
I
not
think
like
is
that.
amazing, just how we can see how integrated he is into your businesses. There's really not a huge disconnect between the personal and the professional because he's just part of his life. And I think that's amazing. He's picking up life skills because even if he's not sitting at the events and listening to everyone's talk, this stuff transfers. The important things are transferring to him that he's interested in now. Plus he gets to watch how you guys have created the lifestyle or the life that you want versus 9 to 5 or the W-2 system.
Yes, I just trust that he hears it anyway, because I don't always hear the conversations we don't as mothers, the conversations they have with their friends and what they say. We don't know what they're saying, but the few times that I've had to eavesdrop or sort of catch a conversation, I'm like, so you heard something. I didn't know you talk like that, So.
And you're surrounding him with such interesting people.
Yes.
Most kids really stay within their bubble, and so he has access to all kinds of people, all kinds of businesses, all type of inventors and idea people and artists and creatives, and so
So that's been kind of interesting to watch because what I didn't expect was that he would have such high standards that people his age would just bore.
Yeah.
But I was like, I did not think about that part, So I really was a puzzle for me for a while because not everyone can entertain him, and it's not. And I really had to come to him and be like, it's not anyone's job to entertain you or intellectually stimulate you.
Right.
Like if you think you're bored, then you be the educator of the people around you, or learn something and teach to them so that you can engage with them. Don't just withdraw.
Right.
'Cause you're like, you're not interesting. You haven't done anything.
Yes.
You know. So I've had to sort of complete the circle, if you will.
Which is so good,
So
right?
I didn't expect that.
I think that too many people rely on other people to be their source of things.
Yes.
Right? I think that one of the big things that we try to teach in Designing Genius is that you've got to be your whole self.
Yes.
Which means you're responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for your passion. You're responsible for, your finances. You have to be responsible and be the source of it, and not hoping that somebody else is going to be that source for you.
Yes, and he wasn't always really integrated. When he was about 3 or 4, even 2, he was punching himself in the head, like I'm a jerk. Actually, it was, I don't know if we could say it, but I'm a dick. I'm a dick. He would get very upset with himself.
Yeah.
Because, you're around adults, then you got to be like a role model, right? That's what it's a lot of pressure. You're 2, you're 3, you're 4, you're emotional, you're hungry, you're sleepy, you're getting dragged around all over the country because your parents are everywhere. So he developed this part of him where he would just blame himself for everything. And I was like, I don't know what to do about this.
And they don't come with instructions. For some reason,
so I was
they
like,
come with no instructions. Yeah.
And one day it hit me. I was like, look, honey, he was upset about something else, and he was wrong, and it was okay. And I said, you must embrace this part of you who is a jerk.
Right.
You're gonna need to in life. Now, I need to be the first one to know if you punch anybody.
Right.
But if you have to, I will understand.
Yeah.
But you need to go be a kid and like experience and your emotions and the consequence of your emotion and reeling it in, pulling it back, and not doing everything right. And to be okay to use that beast part of you. You're a boy who's going to be a man. There will always be that beast inside of you, and you must be friends with that person in you. I tell you, like overnight, all the weird behavioral things are gone.
I love that.
And he's so like solid.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
like,
a great kid. He's a great
cool.
kid. He's awesome.
I don't know what just happened, but okay, I'll take it.
So I know you do a lot of things, and
Yes.
you've done a lot of things, and it seems like everybody knows you.
Yes.
Only here. Nobody knows me outside of here.
Yeah.
So when do you feel most in your genius? Like where you lose track of time, and if you could just do it all the time, and somebody else come do all the other little bits you have to do, what is that happy place?
It's always around, I patch into soul and I can hear it. So I'm generally by myself. Someone's given me an assignment, or I have a personal assignment from my personal quorum of guides, and they're telling me how to orchestrate the thing I'm working on, or someone or a client needs me to look at their business, and it's like, what is the deal? What do I do? Because I hear what's coming out of here, right? When we do consulting, when we talk to people, I don't hear this only. I hear also what they're supposed to do from this part. Like the soul is kind of like, generally the voice of the soul is around this part of the cranium. I hear both. Actually, I don't hear this as loud as this.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so this is a thing that about myself that I, because of Cole, I've had to integrate. I wouldn't tell people how I knew what they needed to do, because every business has a soul, and it's its own creation. Your book has its own beingness, and we're just like the instruments that brings it out. And so being the instrument, we must listen to instruction. And a lot of people are not good at listening at that layer.
Right.
And so when I'm happiest is when I can translate the frequency into the mission or the next steps, and they get the relief of like, because most people feel that torture, but they can't articulate it, or they can't put it into 3D words. So that part is a lot of fun for me. And I'd say most, even the upcoming work I'm working on, it's all based on just that process.
And you have Secret Knock Women coming, which we're excited about that.
Yes.
And so what was your inspiration for that?
Wow. Okay, well, Secret Not Women, our first mastermind that we ran, the two most powerful women in the room, as I mentioned downstairs, got into a fight. And it was really a shame.
Full-grown women, by the way. Full-grown women. Yeah.
Having a spat over nothing they were a better employer of Mexicans than the other. And I was like, you guys, I'm a minority here. What are you arguing about? Stop it. But that was my first realization that there is something inherently off about how women relate. Because I did not grow up in that. For me to be where I am today, there was a band of women that raised me and my siblings. So I only knew of collaboration and working together and sort of working in a fluid organism, if you will. So I've seen that, I was blown away. And I really didn't hear the calling until recently, which kind of is to me very funny, because I've never really cared about women's issues before. It's never been on my radar.
Right.
But I'm a natural at it, probably because, our early conditioning is what we repeat the rest of our lives, right? And also I ended up going to an all-girls school in high school, and those girls loved me when I was very unlovable and difficult and angry at life and everything and everybody. And so I have all this like internalized experience, and hence I have good working relationships with women, and I didn't know that it was such a problem that women don't work well
and it
together.
makes a difference when you have a healthy relationship with women. It has such a ripple effect, such a ripple effect across everything, and I think that most women want that type of connection, but they don't know how.
Yes, and they're afraid.
And they don't see it modeled in business women because it was always, there's only, if we're lucky, one of us is going to get to the C-suite or close to it. Right. And so it was more of an elimination round.
It really
between
was.
women.
It really was. I think the only place I've seen where women are healthily together is in when I'm in a board where there's not hierarchy. It's not like CEO, like we're all a part of the board.
Right.
And so we have to collaborate. Everyone is sort of already established that you're part of this board and therefore you must be something or somebody. And that seems to be a place where I've seen women.
And it's not really modeled very well. I mean, if you still look at the entertainment industry, if you look at, even OTT, women are still in such a combative, unhealthy relationship that I think that the modeling is so important. And then with Secret Not Women, it allows women to experience it, right? To actually experience what a healthy relationship feels like, so that they can then understand the impact that it has on so many different areas. Because just like, men need men, I think men need a bromance. I think women need, their girlfriends.
Yes, the girlfriends. Gosh, there was something you were saying. Actually what breaks my heart about what you said about the combativeness is a mimicry of men. That's it. Have you seen that video that's circulating of this exercise, the study they did? They put like 8-year-old boys, I think there's 10 of them, in a house for 2 weeks. I'm totally butchering the study, but I'm going to get the essence of it. And they did the same thing with girls, 10 girls. And all they did, they said to them was, you're going to live in this house without any adults, just to see what would happen. And the only thing they gave them was cooking classes. So the boys lived in one house and the girls lived with the other. No leaving, no nothing. And within days, I think before the first day ended, the boys had already divided into 2 groups.
Right.
The house was destroyed. Like no one's eaten at like the 3rd, 4th day, nobody's eaten. There were behavioral problems showing up. One boy by the end was just like in a corner in a blanket. The girls, coordinated, charged job. They were taking turns cooking, cleaning. They were showered. There was one who was in charge of keeping everybody's nails nice. I was like, oh my goodness. So we naturally know how to do this, but we mimic the thing that those girls didn't see how boys operate. Right. Without parents, they're just naturally themselves.
Right.
And we just forgot that, and we're instead mimicking.
Right. Well, and I think that, so my daughter's 16, she just turned 16. And over this last couple of years, what she's been experiencing, she had such a really close-knit girl pack. And as they went through middle school, starting high school, the entrance of boys changed the entire dynamic of this girl group. And, you know, my daughter's always like, I don't understand, like, we all could be having a great time, and then one boy enters, and then all the dynamics change. And I think that this is part of the life skills that we talk about, right? Of discovering who you are, being true to who you are, and being okay to show up that no matter what the circumstances are, versus having this major pivoting shift when there's an outside element. And when you can't relate healthily to the outside element, then you're creating a dysfunction in the relationship. And I think that so many of us learned a unhealthy relationship with outside elements that we continue to struggle.
What you're describing, you see all the time in corporate America, where women are getting along, but then there's that one man who will easily, without them knowing, pit them against each other, and they don't even realize it.
Right.
And you know, I have to tell you, in my high school, the nuns would always say, because we had a brother school,
Right.
they would really reinforce, like, look how beautiful all of you are together.
Right.
And it will take one boy to just all have you all squabbling. So be better than that.
Right.
Be better than that.
Right.
And keep track of yourselves. I mean, they're really ingrained that in us. I don't know. I guess the nunnery is quite good at getting women to relate to each other, to raise women. But, you know, I'm like, I don't think anybody hears that. Ever.
Right.
You know, that was like one point in time.
Well, what I love about your event is you're already going to meet the people that, even if they don't know how, to collaborate, because they've already raised their hand by walking through the door and wanting to attend, is that they know this is an all-women's event. They know it's been going on for a while. They know the premise of it. And so it's a great way to be introduced to people. Like Amilya and I have a really healthy business relationship, and our ego doesn't come into our business relationship, but that's how we can work so well. But we both had terrible experiences working with other women where it feels like I have to push you down in order to push me up, kind of thing.
Well, I'm going to knock on wood because I still haven't had really that experience. But I have also been that person who forgot how to be a friend too.
Now.
I actually had a client who I was so, part of being so busy building business, or, you know, sort of grinding and making it, you kind of forget to make friends, you know, because you're serving your clients, you're serving your family. And this woman out of the blue said to me, I'm going to join this thing at the time. This was probably, Colt was like 2, so 8 years ago. She's just literally went to me like this, okay, like this. And she's like, I want you to be my friend. And I was like, oh, and like it caught my attention. I'm like, okay. What,
January 2020.
you're gonna come with me like grocery shopping kind of friend? You know, then I had to figure out what she's talking about. But that moment, I was like, women don't do that.
No.
We need it.
We used to be really good at it.
Yes.
Like we had herds of friends when we were little.
And that's what we'll be doing at Secret Knock Women. There will be an exercise where they're just gonna pick somebody by their looks and walk up to them and be like, you're so stinking cute. I love your outfit, and I really want to be friends with you because you have a great outfit. Because you know what? It really can be that simple.
Yeah,
we really are that simple,
exactly.
you know? So we just don't have that skill. And so that's one of the skills we'll be doing.
Well, I think a lot of us forgot how to do it because you have kids, and all of a sudden your kids' friends' moms now are like the person highest in your text messaging thread, you know?
Yes.
And we confuse that for friendship because we can talk about the kids. It's the same people that build their marriage around their kids, and that's all they can talk about. And I noticed as my boys got older, and I thought, oh, well, we've known these women for years, and I've gone to have beers with them before games and all this stuff. And then my kid quits the sport, and their kid whatever. And we don't talk to each other anymore, and I don't care, and I don't think they care. And then I just realized that I didn't pick that friend. My son picked her son to be friends. But we think, oh, well, I'm busy, whatever, and that counts as friends because nobody wants to think of themselves as not having friends. And so that's one thing I realized. And so when Amilya and I got together, my husband was like, I am so glad you have a friend. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't have friends. I don't have friends. And he's like, not like that. Like you have casual people that if we moved out of town, you wouldn't care.
Yeah. And I think that,
you know what you're describing, I'm going through it right now. Like Cole is in archery and blah. I mean, like every day I'm going somewhere, and it's they go through phases. They're interested and then they're not interested, and then there goes all the moms too.
Right. And I think that's about learning how to be intentional. I think that we have so many default relationships, and we accept default. You know, we're always talking about creating a minimum standard.
Yes.
Right. And I think the only way you can have a standard is if you understand what the intention is. Absolutely. Like we have an intentional relationship, an intentional part for our business, an intentional part as just being girlfriends.
Yes.
And it's selected, right?
To be good scanners.
Yeah.
Because I noticed, I just did it again. I'm so oblivious to people sometimes. And I noticed this mom always gets in my face and she's like, let's go have lunch or let's go do a spa while the kids are at school. And she comes to me the fourth time I was like, oh my God, she's trying to be friends. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm so oblivious because I also in myself can get very myopic. And so, yes, the intention has to get met with awareness.
Yes.
You know, that you can be the receiving side of it too. You're not always the one that's reaching.
Yeah, but when your life becomes just a repeated schedule, I think that that's what causes us to feel depressed. Yeah. I think it's what makes us feel abandoned. I think it what makes us feel, not purposeful and not valued and seen because we get sucked in by all the details of life.
Yes.
And I think that we really have to put back into the life skills